announcing the formation of Stargate. So put that name down in your books, because I think you're going to hear a lot about it in the future. A new American company that will invest $500 billion at least in AI infrastructure in the United States, and very, very quickly, moving very rapidly, creating over 100,000 American jobs almost immediately.
So you've got Sam Altman with OpenAI, Larry Ellison with Oracle. Of course, you know, Oracle has some ties here to Nashville. And also SoftBank CEO Masayoshi Son. Now, they're going to, apparently, they've opened up or are going to open up large data centers in Texas and maybe even in the state of Tennessee. Who knows? They're going to expand to other states. But the point is that these tech giants, you just heard President Trump talking about this, these tech giants are going to invest eventually $500 billion to develop artificial intelligence here in America. And one of the things that Donald Trump has been saying all along, and many other people, including Senators Marsha Blackburn and Bill Hagerty, a lot of folks have been saying that we need to develop our own AI infrastructure here in America and not allow China to just take the ball and run with it. But there's some very controversial things involved in all of this, including these billionaires creating a vaccine for individual cancers using artificial intelligence. This is really interesting, terrifying as well. I'm going to get into that, but this is Larry Ellison.
All of our cancers, cancer tumors, little fragments of those tumors float around in your blood. So you can do early cancer detection. If you can do using AI, you can do early cancer detection with a blood test. And using AI to look at the blood test, you can find the cancers that are actually seriously threatening the person.
Yeah, I mean, really interesting. So immediately, as you can imagine, and I was one of them, people are screaming on social media, this is crazy. We can't possibly trust these vaccines. And that folks are even crazy for thinking about vaccines for individual cancers. Didn't we learn from the negative impacts of COVID? Now, one big distinction is these won't be mandatory, but they can certainly compel you to take it and perhaps even tell you that the insurance companies, for example, they can tell you that you won't get the cancer treatments you need unless you've taken the vaccine. I mean, perhaps insurance companies may play a compelling role in all of this. Now, if you have a deadly cancer and it's like, I'm going to die, so what have I got to lose? But if you listen to Larry Ellison, he's talking about simply if you have indications of cancer in your bloodstream, then you've got to take this vaccine.
So we can, again, cancer diagnosis using AI has the promise of just being a simple blood test. Then beyond that, once we gene sequence that cancer tumor, you can then vaccinate the person, design a vaccine for every individual person to vaccinate them against that cancer. And you can make that vaccine, that mRNA vaccine, you can make that robotically, again, using AI in about 48 hours. So imagine early cancer detection, the development of a cancer vaccine for your particular cancer aimed at you, and have that vaccine available in 48 hours. This is the promise of AI and the promise of the future.
Now, look, I'm here to tell you, yeah, sure, it sounds promising. It sounds amazing. It sounds incredible. But again, I'm really skeptical on all this. I'm just going to tell you I am. Now, as you know, Trump supporters en masse have rebelled against vaccines, quite frankly, as they should, and particularly vaccine mandates, because they were mandatory and there were and are side effects. So that's number one. Number two, Dr. Peter McCullough, you know who he is. He's a doctor whose mission is medical freedom. He is well known for being skeptical on vaccines, very outspoken as well. he is a warrior on this, and he's already sounding the alarm. He was making the rounds on some medical freedom type podcasts.
Oncologists are only allowed to offer you expensive drugs, expensive chemotherapy, expensive immunotherapy, sometimes costing tens of or hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I can tell you, these mRNA cancer vaccines, which they're going to be pushing, that Moderna is working on already with phase 3 trials in the UK and Australia, these mRNA cancer vaccines, you know what the cost is attached to these things? It's about $500,000 US per treatment.
$500,000 per treatment. That is insane. So my question is this purely a money grab? Are they doing this for humanity's sake? Is this a way for the pharmaceutical companies to get the insurance companies to pay massive amounts of money? And what if the insurance companies decide not to pay for it? Because, that's going on. Well, then what do? Then it means that those who can afford the cancer vaccines can afford it, and those who cannot. But that's the other question. Dr. Peter McCullough, will these vaccines even actually work?
And they're going to be calling it a cancer cure. They'll probably be combining it with some established cancer drugs just to make the mRNA look better, or probably make it look like it works, because I don't think it does work.
Wow.
In all the clinical trials that I've seen so far, they're talking about 10% improvement or 20% improvement. This stuff doesn't work. So they're going to try to polish it up to make it look like it works, and they're going to attach a $500,000 price tag to it.
All right. So be that as it may, these 3 billionaires, they were speaking to Fox News after that big Donald Trump press conference. This is Sam Altman.
This means we can create AI and AGI in the United States of America. Wouldn't have been obvious that this was possible. I think if a different president, it might not have been possible, but we are thrilled to get to do this. And I think it'll be great for Americans, great for the whole world.
So Donald Trump is on in some circles, he's getting a lot of props because he is recruiting these billionaires to invest in America. And so I appreciate that. And this is not only just about the cancer vaccines. I'm air quoting this, by the way, the cancer vaccines, but it's about creating this artificial intelligence sort of culture here in America, this infrastructure. And I do like that. But here's my question for you. And it is our Daily Dan poll of the day. Would you take this cancer vaccine if you could? What you got to do, you got to go to YouTube. You got to watch us on YouTube, and the poll is right there. What is the KGB, Jeff Malinoff, What is the exact wording?
So it's, would you take a cancer vaccine if supported by President Trump?
Okay.
Yes, no, and also I put undecided. Some people are still like, maybe put in that because this isn't a definite yes or no kind of answer.
No, it's not. And that's kind of where I'm at. I'm kind of at definitely undecided, skeptical, absolutely. But it's not mandatory. But again, they could very easily compel you to take these vaccines. So go on and take the Daily Dan poll. Go to YouTube, watch the video. The poll is right there. Would you take a vaccine if it was endorsed or supported by Donald Trump for cancer? By the way, the super text line is open as well. 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. On a completely different note, at some point, maybe we'll do it during the 535. Have y'all seen this? I think she's kind of a wackadoo. This bishop out there in Washington, D.C. that chose to lecture Donald Trump in this service, in this sermon that he was, I believe, forced to attend. Here's the thing that I find most funnest, whatever, really intriguing about Donald Trump and his attendance of this particular sermon. Joan, have you seen the faces of Donald Trump and J.D. Vance and Melania as they're sitting there and they're being forced to listen to this sermon? I've got a lot of...
It's crazy.
It is crazy. I've got a lot of audio on this. It is all coming up. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Time to check the roads.
Well, I-65 southbound, the off-ramp to Trinity Lane is blocked off this morning by a stalled-out tractor-trailer. Also, the westbound lanes of 24. Got to watch it. There's an accident blocking the left lane right at the Antioch overpass this morning. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
You know what I think it is, Joan?
What is it?
I think people's minds are frozen and they've lost their ability to drive. I think that's what it is.
You think they, don't have any heat in their car?
Listen, it takes a minute. Do you know what's so funny? So, number one, I got into my car. It was 10 degrees. I actually took a picture and posted it on my Facebook page just because it is so incredibly cold. And then I'm driving down the road and it turns 8 degrees. I mean, it is freezing out.
Yeah. That's where I was this morning when I started.
Do you have butt warmers in your car, Joan?
I don't, and I'm so mad about it. I thought I had them in this vehicle that I just bought. Mm-hmm. No butt warmer, no hand warmer, no auto start.
Malinoff, do you have butt warmers in your car?
No, I don't have my car's not fancy enough for your seat warmers.
I don't have butt warmers in my car either, Jeff. So you can stop shaming the host.
You just put you put the electric blanket on the chair, don't you?
No, that's a good idea.
It is a good idea.
Wow, I didn't even think about that.
We could manufacture that.
We could.
It's a lot of money.
We could slap a WTN logo on it.
Well,
we're the official butt warmer of Nashville.
Well, just Natasha, we were talking about my Natasha, quote unquote. She, like, every time I talk to her, she's like always like when she's at home, she has her electric blanket.
Yeah,
because it's like she just swears to it.
So Natasha's still a thing, huh?
Well, we're going to use that name for whoever I'm seeing at the moment.
Oh,
wow.
I see. Whoa. I hope she's not listening.
Hey, Joan, how do you say playa in Russian?
No, it's not like that. I'm just saying.
That's actually exactly what it sounds like.
Okay, the original Natasha didn't work out. It's all good. She's still a friend. It just didn't work.
Joan, Jeff's been friend zoned.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it suddenly got from cold to freezing in Jeff's life.
Yeah. Well, you need a butt warmer for that.
Okay, but fortunately, I'm seeing someone else, and
you're still on the market, is what you're saying.
I was still on the market.
Yeah,
no,
that was really quick.
Casual.
It was.
Ever heard of casual dating? Like, and then once it gets a real relationship, you stop casual dating.
I go from like first date to love to marriage in like a couple of days.
Okay, how fast did you marry Amy?
That's actually a bit of a sore spot because it took me actually 5 years to propose to Amy.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, moving right along. Hey, what are people saying about the cancer vaccine?
So right now the poll is actually at 62% no, 35% undecided. I think, again, because of Trump. Yeah. And then 4% yes. So we actually have a yes or a vote or two. A
few
yes.
yesers.
And the text line is also talking about RFK Jr. in case of waiting for him to approve of it, or some people are saying he wouldn't even consider this because, again, it's a vaccine and he's been very anti-vaccine, rightfully so with all the data. So a lot of people are waiting on more information, obviously.
And I don't want to get too technical on the whole RFK thing. He will say, at least more recently, he'll say that he hasn't been necessarily against vaccines.
Right.
But he wants more transparency with vaccines, and he wants them to be held accountable. So that's part of the deal with RFK Jr. is he's like, I'm not going to take away your vaccines. I'm not going to, I want them to be more transparent. I want to make sure that the vaccines are not causing side effects or harm. And I want to make sure, he'll say, that these things actually work. I mean, so he's not anti-vaccine. And a lot of people will tell you, I've actually learned a lot about I'm going to air quote this because I don't want to make people mad, because I've got a lot of people who would fall into this kind of a category. People call them anti-vaxxers, and I'm air quoting that. They're not anti-vaxxers. What they are, they've got a lot of questions, and they want transparency, and they want to ensure that these vaccines are not necessarily harming our kids, and they want accountability. That's what they want, and they want to end the revolving door of FDA and the pharmaceutical companies, because they hop from one to the other. A lot of these scientists, like Dr. Fauci, they make money, they make revenue off of these vaccines. So they work in the pharmaceutical company and they develop these vaccines, and then off they go to the FDA, and all of a sudden they're recommending the very vaccines that they helped create because they get money off of those vaccines. So there's a big time conflict of interest. So people who are, and again, air quoting, anti-vaxxers, in reality, they've got a lot of very legitimate reasons why they are skeptical. So I didn't mean to go off on that tangent. But does that make sense, Joan?
It makes a lot of sense.
All right, very good. You guys want to hear my Marco Rubio joke again that I did yesterday?
Moving right along. Don't you want to know what the headlines are?
Yes, I do. What are the headlines, Joan?
Well, it is super cold again this morning. We've got some advice from an HVAC expert for folks with heat pumps for their homes. Also, a police officer gunned down in North Carolina overnight. We've got an update on that story coming up as well. Those stories at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.